I think it is really important to remember it's a holiday of merriment. It is a holiday of joy. We are really, really supposed to celebrate in a big way.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Well, hello, I am Cantor Laurel Barr, and I am so excited to be here at Vitalia with my good friend Madeline, who I get to see at least twice a month. And we are going to be talking today about the holiday of Purim, which is not the biggest holiday, but it is a lot of fun. So, Madeline, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm living at Vitalia now for about a year and a half, and all things considered, I'm quite happy. I've made a lot of friends and been keeping active to a certain extent. So my old age is not going down the drain. I think it's going this way. And now I'm very happy to be here with my cantor and my good friend, Laurel. And so I guess we're talking about Purim today. Laurel, can you tell me what the story of Purim is all about and why we celebrate and how we do it?
So Purim is a story that is not from the Torah. Interestingly enough, it has its own scroll, and it's called the Megillah. And you've heard of the Ganze Megillah? That means the whole story
The whole
in Yiddish.
thing.
But as you know, the Torah comes on 2 scrolls, and the Megillah only is on 1 scroll. And this very short book is only 10 chapters long. But it's a mitzvah. It's required that we hear it twice during the holiday. So it's an ancient story about a king, and his name was King Ahasuerus, and he was a party animal. He loved to party. This guy could party, and he throws a party for himself for 180 days.
Ooh.
That's a lot of catering. It's a lot of wine. And he invited everybody in the kingdom. And it happened back in Persia. And it happened in the capital of Persia, which is Shushan. You've probably heard of Shushan.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with Shushan, but Shushan Purim. And so he has this great party, and he's just having the best time. And he's drinking and dancing. You know what happens when you drink and dance? Mm-hmm. In any event, his lovely bride named Vashti was not at the party. So he yells out, Vashti, Vashti, come to party with me. And she says, I'm not coming. And how do you think he felt about that?
Terrible.
He was so mad because she was a beauty.
Sure.
And she said, I don't want to come out. He wanted her to come out with not too much on. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so she refuses to come out, and King Ahasuerus is infuriated. And he says, I'm done with you, Vashti. And she's banished, and she's gone from our story. So he needs another queen. So he sings this song. I need a queen, a nice new queen, to sit beside me on the throne. And if she's very nice to me, I'll give her half of everything I own.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, there was a beauty pageant, and they called for all the beautiful maidens from Persia to come and parade for the king. And there was one girl, a very special girl. Do you remember her name? Her name was Esther.
Oh, of course.
Right, Esther, a beautiful name. And she was prodded to join this pageant by her uncle, Mordecai. We can call him Morty. We felt very close to him. Called him Morty. Anyways, Mordecai said, Esther, you must come to the pageant, which she did. And guess who King Ahasuerus picked?
Esther.
Esther, yes. Esther. She becomes the queen of Persia in Shushan. Yes, it was a lovely time.
Oh, my.
I know. There were parting gifts and flowers. It was beautiful. Anyway, she wins this wonderful position, and she brings her uncle Mordecai to the palace with her. And there is a helper, the highest advisor to the king, named Haman.
Oh.
And you know the story about Haman. Haman was evil, and he had the king's ear. So the story starts with this vanishing of one wife, the introduction of another wife, and we have the good guy and we have the bad guy as all stories. And that's basically how it goes. But there are a lot of interesting parts that we'll talk about as we continue.
Okay, that sounds so interesting.
It is.
Well, tell me, Cantor Laurel, what is the main message of Purim?
Well, that's a very good question. The word Esther, the name Esther means hidden.
Means sitting?
It means hidden.
Oh, hidden.
Something is hidden. Something is hiding. Lahastir means to hide.
Oh.
So you know, if you remember the story, that Esther was hiding a secret. And her secret was that she was Jewish. And she did not want anyone to know that. And today, we have the same feelings about hiding sometimes our identity. It could be religious. It could be all kinds of different identities that people hide today. So the message is that we have to be strong. We can overcome difficulties. And sometimes we do hide, but we can be who we are.
It's very, very interesting.
And it did save the story, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay. Well, can you tell me, what is a mitzvah? Mitzvah.
There are many mitzvot, as you know, and when we have services together, we have many mitzvot that we talk about. But there are 4 mitzvot that are associated with Purim. Purim, although it's a fun holiday, kids love it, it is a minor holiday. Even though there is a bit of a fast day prior to the actual beginning of the holiday, which is always on the 13th of Adar, which this year has 2 Adar, but it's always around March, April. So there are 4 mitzvot. Number 1, you have to hear the Megillah read. These 10 chapters, you have to hear the Megillah read.
Okay.
You can hear it in the day, in the night, but you have to hear it. That's 1. Another mitzvah, which is a great one, is you have to eat.
Oh, that sounds good.
I knew it. See, all of our Jewish festivals, you got to eat something. So this has to have a big seudah. It's called a big festive meal. And you have to give gifts to the poor. We make donations to charity. And also we do what's called mishloach manot. We send gifts to our friends, food gifts from, it can be a juice, it can be anything now, but we send gifts to our friends. So those are the 4 mitzvot that we have to. I love the meal part. It's very good. So those are the 4.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. What are some of the traditional foods that we eat?
Well, we're supposed to drink a lot.
Oh.
So whoever's watching this may want to know that you are supposed to drink so much that you can't remember the difference between Haman, the bad guy, and Mordecai, the good guy.
That's drinking
That's
quite
a lot
a
of
bit.
drinking.
That's a
right.
lot of drinking.
It makes happy hour at Vitalia a good time.
Absolutely.
All right. So that is.
They'll have to extend the time.
I think I'll tell them. So we have to drink. We have to eat. And one of the foods that everyone loves are the Hamantaschen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're shaped like a triangle. And we know that Haman wore a hat that was triangular in shape. So we eat them filled with chocolate or jelly or jams. And what is your favorite flavor, Mary?
Poppy seed.
Poppy seed. What do we call that? Mon. Remember that?
Poppy seed Hamantaschen.
Right, Hamantaschen. And that really means a pocket. A tash is a pocket, but in Israel they call them Oznei Haman, which are Haman's ears.
Oh.
But still triangular shaped. So they're very delicious. But that is pretty much the most famous food that is associated with Purim.
I have another question. What is a Gregor?
I'm glad you asked that because
I'm
I
glad
brought
I
3
did
with
too.
me. There you go. So when we talk about Haman, who tried to destroy the Jews, he cast lots and he was going to pick a day to destroy all the Jews, get them all killed. And so whenever we hear Haman's name in the Megillah, we try to drown it out with a Gregor sound. So we have this gigantic Gregor.
Wow.
A gigantic Gregor.
Wow.
This one's going to make a lot of noise.
Okay,
So-
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Whoa,
Oh, watch yourself. You're gonna. Oh,
that's a big one.
it
That's the big
sure
one.
is.
And then we have this beautiful Rosenthal, which is an artistic one, which I'm going to let you just swing around a bit.
Okay.
Haman.
Hey, yay!
There you go. Got to drown his name.
Haman.
Very good. All right.
Thank you.
And one more that I have. This is from a colleague of mine, brought it back from Mexico. So this is, I think we would say this could be the king. Very cute. Now, a lot of people actually write Haman's name on the bottom of their shoe. And when they say Haman, they stamp his name out. So I want to go back a little
Very
bit.
interesting.
Yeah, we never want to hear about him. We don't want to hear about him. But we have to hear about him. So the end of the story is that Haman decided that he wanted to get rid of the Jews because when he was walking through town, Esther's uncle Mordecai was outside and Haman said, "You will bow down to me." And Haman said, "I don't bow down to anybody. I only pray to one God and not to you." And he was infuriated. So he went to the king and said, "We have to destroy these people." And now the king didn't know because of the little secret. So Mordecai said to Esther, "You've got to help us. Haman is about to do this terrible thing to the Jews." And she said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "You must go and tell the king." She said, "But he didn't summon me." But she gets enough courage to knock on the door and walk in and say, "Oh, darling, I have something to tell you." And because Mordecai had saved the king's life in the year before, he saved all the Jews by listening to Esther, but he was shocked to find out that she was a Jew. That's the secret.
Wow.
That's the secret.
Well, why do people wear masks?
They hide.
To hide.
To hide. Just like Esther was hidden. Something else is hidden in this story. In all these 10 chapters, you will not hear the name God. You never mention, we never hear, because God remains hidden to the people and throughout the story, which, as you know, in the Torah, God is everywhere, always mentioned God's name. Here we know that the miracle was not like the parting of the sea or the plagues or the exodus from Egypt. Those miracles were obvious. Here the miracle is hidden behind the scenes. God did not pull the strings from showing us. God pulled the strings from behind the scenes.
Very, very interesting.
It is. It is interesting.
Are there other ways that people celebrate that we don't talk about?
I think it is really important to remember it's a holiday of merriment. It is a holiday of joy. We are really, really supposed to celebrate in a big way. Eat, drink, and be merry is the motto for Purim. And it is like so many of our other events where they try to kill us, we overcome, and we eat. So this is another one of those events. It is a minor holiday, as we mentioned before. There are other major holidays, of course, Passover, which comes on the heels of Purim.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But we have to remember that there's goodness in the world, and we have to celebrate our ability to survive and our ability to live freely, as Esther saved the day for all of us.
You've explained it so beautifully to me.
Well, thank you.
I can't thank you enough.
I can't thank you enough. It was so wonderful to be with you, Madeline, and hear a little bit about the Purim story.
What happened to Haman then?
I'm glad you asked that.
I'm glad I did too. I forgot.
So Haman, being the evil man that he was, he has to get his just deserts or just rewards for what he has done. So he had prepared a gallows to have Mordecai hung. But the tables got turned when the king found out that it was Haman who planned to kill his beautiful wife. So they built the gallows, and they say that Haman was hung on the gallows and his 10 sons.
Oh.
And when we read the part about his sons, we take one big breath and we have to chant in a special melody the names of each one of his sons without taking a breath in between. So we just rattle them off. We take a big breath and we go, and name all the sons, and then we can breathe. It's like holding your nose because you don't want to say.
My.
Yeah. So that is the end of Haman. That is how he ends the story.
I can't thank you enough to tell me about it, explain it to me.
But you know what? You mentioned Haman, and we have to sing a song.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
So, because we have a song about Haman, I'm going to give you this Gregor so that when we sing these words called Rosh, Rosh, Rosh.
Okay.
So you have to say that. We're going to practice it. You don't need your glasses for this
No,
one.
I need to take them off when I read. Yes.
You don't even have to read it. But the words are Rosh, Rosh, Rosh. That's going to be your part.
Okay.
So let's practice it.
Rosh,
Rosh, Rosh,
Rosh,
Rosh.
Rosh.
Fantastic. Now, That means noise, noise, noise. There you go. So when you sing it and you say rash, 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 you say rash, rash, rash. And I can use this little one and say rash, rash, rash. All right?
I'm ready.
So the song is going to be in Hebrew. It goes like this. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehudim. Masks, Masechot, Rashanim, Shirim Verikudim. It says we're going to make noise. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Bara Ashanim. Let's make a little more noise. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Havana Risha, rash, rash, rash. Bara Ashanim, rash.
Yay!
And that's so we never hear Haman's name.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed.
I enjoyed it
And
too.
I
Thanks so
learned
much.
something.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
It was great to have you. Thank you so much.
And I think to myself,